$500 space rents. We're still buying deals with $385 rents. Like, it's so affordable that it gives you, like, even if you raise rents on a $385 rent to $500-$600, it's still so far beneath. Even Section 8 is more than that.
Yeah. Welcome back to the CashFlow podcast, the podcast where we talk about turning properties into profits. I'm your host, Jason Yoss. And before I get to my guest, I want to go ahead and thank our sponsors. First and foremost, Rainforest Plumbing, Heating, and Air, based out of the Phoenix Valley. They'll cover all your plumbing, heating, and air needs anywhere in Phoenix. And then again, Daniel's Plumbing here in Southern California. They'll cover your plumbing needs in San Diego, Orange County, LA County, and the Inland Empire. We couldn't do it without you guys. Thank you. And now, my guest, Blake Comfort. Blake, great to have you in studio.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Hey, I'm super excited. I told you this before. Comfort Capital. Focus on trailer parks, right?
Yeah.
Talk to me about how you got into this niche and how long you've been doing it.
So we got into the space in 2008, 2009, really looking for kind of how to get into the property management, but also syndication roles. Like, how do you raise money? We didn't have any money to speak of,
Right.
you know. Put hundreds of thousands of dollars together would have been difficult at the time. So we looked at a bunch of multifamily stuff and went to a Rich Dad education seminar. So it's one of my goals to go on Robert Kiyosaki's podcast. Shout out if anyone can hook me up. To thank him for just putting some of those things together. Right. I think even just his influence. But then they touched on mobile home parks as just a little niche business within the multifamily sector. And we really kind of gravitated towards it because you could buy, the key in our heads at that time was to find at least 20 to 30 units.
Got it, right.
Because then one unit goes down, 2 units goes down,
right.
You still have enough revenue, and that percentage means something. You know,
right.
If you only have 2 units and one goes down, you're 50% occupied.
Totally understand. In multifamily, you're looking at a lot of money per door, but it's different in the trailer park space. Now, in terms of Comfort Capital, is it just you or?
So I'm partners with my sister.
Okay.
We co-founded it together, actually my sister, myself, and my dad.
Got it.
And my dad was a contractor, so he really became our sage advisor, our reputational backbone when we were kids. I mean, I was 18, 19, dialing for dollars. So I needed somebody to be like, I would basically call the phone on Dad's behalf and be like, hey, Dad, here's so-and-so. And he would, long story short, my dad was blind when I was 20. He went blind.
Okay.
And so it was a little different to have a partner that was blind. I managed a lot of his emails, his stuff, until iPhone really became a thing.
Right.
So quick segment on like managing your life blind. There was horrible tools until iPhone and really the smartphones came out.
Really?
And then he ran with that. It was so cool. I mean, think about like how we use voice to text now.
Right.
That's how he could do it.
Yeah.
And he could do it so well. So anyways, my sister and I really stuck together through the challenge of the family dynamic. We became strong, I'd say convicted to succeed in the space.
Right.
And so we had bought one deal going on our second deal. And that's when we really kind of, hooked our claws into it and kept going. So Comfort Capital is myself and my sister, and then now I have a couple other guys. The guy that heads up capital raising, his name's Ben Schuster.
Okay.
We hired him from BlackRock.
Oh,
so he's like our hot rod, capital raiser. And then my long-term friend that ran KFCs in the day, he kind of tapped me and he goes, hey, I want to get into real estate investing, da-da-da.
Right.
He's like, I'll sweep the floors. I'll come over
Sure.
classic, I'll come and do anything just to get, access. And he's our COO of the management company. So Comfort Communities manages all the properties. Right. We have 60 people now. And then Comfort Capital is just our core, we chase deals, raise money, do the legal structure behind that.
I like it. And I like that origin setup. But talk to me about the difference here. Okay, you went to Robert Kiyosaki, you're looking at multifamily, and then you saw the ability to go towards trailer parks or mobile home parks. What is the big difference, mobile home versus multifamily?
There are so many, because I have a lot of friends in multi, so
Right.
I keep a constant ear to the ground. Long story short, it's turnover.
Got it.
So the difference is you're shifting the ownership of the resident in the community.
Right.
And there is a community difference. Like you're offline talking about your mom living in a manufactured home in Napa.
Right.
Like that's awesome. The sense of community in these is different, and you own your home. So then if you want to put a new home in or you want to paint it and, make whatever improvements to it, you can.
It's
so
yours.
that ownership shifts the whole ball game
Right.
from the management side. As long as if you don't screw up a mobile home park, it's going to work.
If you don't step on your own crank, it's going to be fine.
Literally,
in managing a mobile home park. Fair
you
enough.
just go in, you be a good steward, you keep all the touch points up to snuff. You take care of the clubhouse, the entry, the lights, just normal stuff.
Right.
The roads, the water, sewer, electrical connections to the homes, like anything that's your responsibility, take care of it. And be a good example, and the residents will do the rest.
Let me ask you real quick before we go farther. Okay, mobile home park, manufactured home, trailer park. What is the difference? Like we hear all these names. Is it the same thing? What's going on?
Totally the same thing. In essence, like a trailer started being built in the 50s.
Okay.
And then you have the evolution of a trailer, which was more of a travel trailer. Like they literally towed them behind their Cadillacs.
Right.
It's cool.
That's the Gulfstream, right? They just drop legs somewhere.
Yeah, it just really, really more of like what we think of today as an RV or a travel trailer. That's where this whole thing started. Arizona was a destination for the north, just get out of in the winter. So they'd go to the desert and spend the winter, and when the nice sunshine and all that. So we have pictures of like mobile home parks that now look like manufactured home communities.
Right.
Where it was 50s style Cadillacs pulling trailers. So that's a trailer park where it's literally like a 1950s, 60s era trailer.
Got it.
And then it looks like all hodgepodgey because they've built on it, additions off the sides and all that. Then you go to, after 1974, you now got a HUD code. So everything's standardized across the board. So you had to use certain construction methods. It had to be basically a modern home.
Got it.
Now we have different building codes out here because of earthquakes, just like back in Georgia and Alabama, you have different issues with tornadoes. And so after 74, they're mobile homes. And then the transition from mobile home to manufactured home is a branding dynamic. When the big dogs like Warren Buffett bought Clayton Homes.
Right.
It's manufactured homes.
Sure.
And we were trying to get away from the mobile home trailer park world.
And I look, manufactured home 100%, and we'll talk about this more, but you're right. You can get a manufactured home that comes on a flatbed, but once it's put together, it looks like a regular home.
You can even pit set them. You dig a hole, you set them, you pour concrete on grade. You don't even have to step up to them.
You never know. And I want to go into this because you brought this up, and it's a huge difference. With mobile home parks, you're not focused on renting to individual people who are in the house per se.
Correct.
You're doing the space lease. So whether that's a new manufactured home or an old trailer on it, like you just take care of that. That's where the investment
property
is.
owners, we're the landlord. We in essence own the HOA. It's like, and that's another way to look at it. And then we lease the lot to them. The lot is pretty defined because you have the electrical pedestal that's right next to their house, and then you'll have an area where they park, and then the next neighbor's electrical pedestal. So it kind of gives them that chunk of land. And they lease it. Average lease today is probably, obviously it's location dependent, but across Phoenix it's like $850,
Really?
$900
per space. And so this is the reason why there's not as much turnover, because the people who are leasing that space, that's their home.
They own it.
And they own it, and they're not really going, they're not on a year lease where they're like, okay, well now we got to go somewhere else. They're literally, that's their spot.
And it costs money to move it. Like
Yeah.
20,
Oh, yeah, a lot of money. A lot of money to move
you
it.
basically set a home permanently.
Yeah.
And this is a fun stat, 95% of manufactured homes, once they're set, never leave.
Never really.
So it's more of the resident is done living there, puts their home up for sale. Some other resident comes in, buys it, they leave.
Got it.
And then we approve and don't have criminals and stuff like that. So as long as you're not a criminal, really, it's easy enough to get
And that
through
stat is what totally outpaces a standard like multifamily, where there's a lot more turnover.
Product bring it online too. So
Yep.
you can't build these mobile home parks.
Yeah.
It is so hard. I know guys that are doing it, and it is hard for big dogs. Like guys that have a lot of money. Actually, Sam Zell wrote a book on Investing. Have you ever read it?
No, I haven't.
It's amazing. It's called Am I Being Too Subtle? Because he was like this little guy. He could have been like an actor. He was really an interesting looking sounding guy.
Too Subtle's a great name, by the way.
And he was just a hard ass. And anyways, he figured out that you could build interior blue in the face. The risk was unreal because of the red tape.
Got it.
All of it. Your controls were watered down by the government.
Right.
And so he couldn't get things out of the ground. So he did the heck with it. He went and bought ELS. So he started Equity Lifestyles. He went and bought 100,000 units of mobile home parks.
Really?
He owns the chair. I mean, he's gone now, but his company is now still a legacy, like #1 owner.
And so speaking of that, people like Sam Zell, who were your mentors on this journey? I mean, again, mobile home parks is a niche space. I mean, real estate investing is a huge area, but this is a niche space. Who did you turn to kind of help guide you? Obviously, Dad. Anybody else that really focused on?
So the original book was Rich Dad Poor Dad. It shifted me in the right moment in time because I wasn't a school kid, so I really wasn't destined. You could have asked me at like 12 years old, are you going to college? No way. I did not like getting up and going to school every day. So when I got out, I got my real estate license like at like basically my 18th birthday,
right,
and started from there. The big thing that hooked us and why we love mobile home parks so much is that it is the baseline affordable product that's non-government subsidized.
Got it.
So it's it. I mean, like $500 space rents. We're still buying deals with $385 rents. Like it's so affordable that it gives you, like, even if you raise rents on a $385 rent to $500-$600, it's still so far beneath. Even Section 8 is more than that.
Yeah. And if they own that manufactured home or mobile home on top of that space, that is brand new, $50,000 to $100,000 max.
Yep.
So all in there, it's very affordable to live there.
Yep. So Robert Kiyosaki was huge, just getting the mindset of like long-term passive investing, living on cash flow versus like living on ordinary earned income, like that whole shift. Like I adopted it and honestly was blessed to adopt it as early as I did.
Right.
Because I decided like, well, heck, I don't have any cost. Now's the time.
Yeah.
Because I could see the wave coming. And so then mentors is, I've always followed, Sam Zell became one because of mobile home parks. I actually follow now, I really like Ken McElroy or McElroy. He's the guy Robert Kiyosaki invested with.
Right.
I'm actually talking to him on Friday. I just got introed to him.
Nice.
And so he and I could have a fun conversation because he's purely multi. And mobile home parks are a niche that you have to work really hard to get into, like the good old boy network and the brokers. So people like that, where I can look to like the multifamily operators that are really sharp. A local guy you may have heard of is Jerry Ranglis, R&V Management. Big 10, 15,000 units.
$1 billion under, like $4 billion under management.
Yeah. I mean, we now have a few more MG properties. We have access to some of those guys to chat with. Tony Robbins is our team training.
Really?
Yeah, we use BRT, business results training, through Tony's organization. Through friends, I know AJ Gupta, his family office guy. So like, there's so many people. People are so great.
Just
honestly.
real quick, and just talked about what is people put a cost on it or a dollar amount that you got to spend to get this kind of mentorship or Tony Robbins or a Robert Kiyosaki seminar. Like, how big and how worth it is it to spend those dollars to get you on the right track or to keep you sustained on the right track?
In my life, what I've had to do is commit to something meaningfully to do it. So like that motivation, that fire. If you pay like it sounds like a lot of money. We paid $26,000 for that original course from Rich Dad Education Series. Now, I probably now know or am like one phone call away from knowing the guy that taught the class. Right. And the guy was legit.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, how else are you gonna get that training?
Right.
And then on the other side, the commitment's huge. Yeah. You spend that $26,000 and you're freaking gonna listen.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't say it enough. Like, it is worth it to spend for your education. People spend going to college. Why do you think any different about spending towards a focus or a niche market like real estate investing? So I want to transition and talk about case studies, because you talked to me about your goals, about always going passive income. So let's start about okay, what did it look like? What does it look like on the ground? I want you to take us to your very first deal, the Denver deal.
Okay, so North Denver, about 20 minutes north, is a little town called Brighton, Colorado. We were looking for a place that had good demand, major metro. We come to find out as you go off further and further away from metropolitan areas, the dynamics of how much rent should be, and it just gets trickier and trickier.
Sure.
So we tied up a few deals before that one to then be like, all right, we should pursue west of the Rockies or whatever right there.
And real quick, when you say tied up a deal, what exactly do you mean?
But put in an offer.
Okay.
Normally in a letter of intent, LOI is what the brokers we all throw around. Like, send me an LOI. So you make a bunch of offers on like a 1-page form, 2-page form max. Gives you the outline of what the purchase agreement would look like. Once you get a contract in front of the buyer and seller, so there's some emails back and forth, basically decide on what are some of the terms or the issues we each have. And then once you agree, the form gets sent around, you execute that purchase agreement. Now you're in escrow, and in my mind, you have the deal tied up.
Got it.
So we tie up and get Brighton Mobile Home Park into escrow.
Okay.
And that's when the work, like you chase these deals, and that's when the work really, the boot up of the deal happens.
How'd you find this one per se?
This one was on LoopNet.
Got it.
Now I joke that like the LoopNet is like the place where deals are difficult to sell, so they put them on LoopNet just to hope to gather some new idiot to buy it. So we get that little 28 units, and this is a trailer park. It's a old 1960s home, maybe 50s homes. When this deal was built, it was the only thing around. It was all farm fields. It was built in 57.
Right.
And so you think of 20 minutes north of Denver, 1957.
Right.
Like it's nothing but crops and maybe, cattle grazing.
Yep.
So we buy this little deal. It's on Main Street in Brighton. The city absolutely hates us. And we're like, why? So we get there, we take ownership, we get a 40-page violation list. And it's all these trailer owners' violations. Right. Like there's maybe a couple of cleanup, like the laundry room needed a new this or that, a fire extinguisher, the normal stuff. And but the mobile home steps and the skirting and the this and the that. And so we basically had to go around and just like hammer the residents for it. So, I mean, you jump right into the operational world at that point, right. and it's actually pretty overwhelming. You walk around in the middle of your own mobile home park, and you're now responsible for all this, and it's pretty ugly.
Did you have additional capital raised on top of what you put down, or how'd you put that deal
that's
together?
learning 101 on the syndication front. Is you're pinching pennies on one hand because you only want to have so much cash in it,
right?
Because you got to pay a return,
right?
And you only want to have enough reserves just to kind of keep the cash flow going and pay for anything that's, CapEx that's planned. But early on, I'd say for the first 5 years, I was constantly running into the fact that I didn't budget enough CapEx for things that would just happen. So, I mean, we probably had like 20 grand. You buy the deal. I mean, it was a $600,000 deal.
Right.
You put, with the seller carried the paper. Which was it was a really tough time to get bank loans.
Okay.
Everyone was super skittish. The big banking collapse had just happened.
Right.
A lot of reorg on the banking side.
This is 2008, roughly, right? That's right.
It was 2008, 2009 we closed it, but we were doing it all through like the end of the year 2008. So we raised $250,000 with investors. We put that down. The seller carries the paper, kind of a slick Rick type of guy, inherited it from his mom, and so we go down the road. We get him to do the seller carry. The only way was if he would do it for max 24 months.
Right.
So we sort of had like 24
months to figure it out.
A pretty short timeline because if you the thing was cash flowing, and so it wasn't like we were going to default, but technically we ended up defaulting on the first deal because I couldn't find a loan.
Yeah.
And I pulled every Google listing, everything you could find at the time, calling around different banks, just relaying my way around to all the different local banks, and we finally, after paying 3 delinquent fees to basically had to call and be like, hey, I need to extend, how much are you going to bend me over the barrel for? I mean, it was like a bad position.
Yeah.
I think it cost us another 10 grand a month.
Wow.
Because he could have called the note.
Right. Because said I want it all due now.
So, I learned all this.
Right.
I had no idea. I was 18, 19 years old doing this. So, actually at that point I was 20, 2 years in. And, so going through that, it just hardens you and gives you the confidence to go forward. And I figured out a lender. I literally made I had to lean on my dad's financial statement. All we had was his home.
Right.
to put on
to get collateral on
to put on the collateral. And so I made his financial statement. You learn quickly because the banker sent you this big needs list on what you need. And then you're like, well, we don't have this, this, and this, and so you just put it together and do it. And so that was, the big impetus of the whole thing. You learn and we had a well on property. You're providing potable water. We had violations. If anything goes down, you're regulated to test the water and send in the test. Well, if the water slides in quality, they are on you like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, government agencies on that, right?
And so then I have to have this truck that has potable water come in and pump into my tanks, potable water, and bypass my well system. These things that most people have never even really thought of, which has then kind of ingrained what deals I chase now.
All learning lessons, all built in.
All learning lessons.
Give me a summary of so you got in 2008, roughly 28 units, 600,000. How did you guys end out? Well, how'd you close this one out?
So 9 years later.
9 years later.
Total ownership.
Got it.
We groomed a few units. We had a few units burn, you name it. And in the end, we sold it for 1.325.
Wow.
And so it was a success. Also, legal docs, I did them. It was an LLC.
Right.
I didn't know anything about LLC operating agreements. So all the money, even though we owned, technically we owned 75% of it, call it the GP or what we were, the managing partners of, all the money went pro rata, the capital contributed.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we didn't really contribute much. We did some, but percentage-wise was very little. So we thought we were going to have this awesome payday at the end. And we go into contract to sell it, and I read through it, and we read it 10 times. And I'm like, well, the investors are going to love us because all the money goes to them.
Right.
And which was honestly a great learning experience. We didn't lose money. We got reimbursed for any costs that we had out.
Sure.
And the investors loved it.
Yeah.
So first deal was a success.
They're ready to do the next one.
But it was difficult.
Well, talk to me about then with all that learning, a home run type of deal. One that just couldn't go wrong.
We kept buying deals. Our early goal was just to try to buy a mobile home park every year.
Got it.
And so we just kind of kept on that tack. So a second deal was in Durango, Colorado. Third deal was in Cottonwood, Arizona.
The Sedona one. That's
right. So then keep going a few more years. We buy a handful more parks. 5 years of owning the Cottonwood, Arizona deal. Mostly back then we did 5-year loans.
Got it.
So then you're kind of looking at, are we going to refinance or are we going to sell?
Right.
Loans come and due. But that was a legit commercial mortgage. It wasn't difficult to refinance.
How big was that Cottonwood park?
So Cottonwood, Arizona, it's called Cottonwood Heights. If anyone wants to look it up, it's really a cute park, kind of tiered up this hill, overlooking, some of the lots overlooked Sedona in the distance.
The vortex.
the energy vortex.
Yep.
So a lot of people worked in hospitals or support for that whole region and lived in the park. Like you're mentioning, newer homes. The park was built in 2002.
Wow, relatively new.
Yeah, all the homes are nice and new. A lot of them had garages.
Oh wow.
For a park, it was on the higher end of the spectrum from a quality standpoint. Fast forward 5 years, we bought it for $2.3 million, which I'm like, gosh, that was so cheap, now. So sub $50,000 a lot.
Space, yeah, man.
And
not getting that in multifamily.
We sold it for 5.1 5 years later.
Wow.
So that was from a multiple. We had a really good moment with interest rates. I think we were in the 4s, which was a good rate at the time. And then from there, so we only had to raise 30% cash.
Really?
So when you double the value, basically you triple everyone's money.
That's huge. That's huge.
That was a huge win. Kind of propelled us forward with capital raising and all that.
And you started again with that first 20 odd units, and now you have close to 2,500 spaces.
We just now have a static, legit 2,500 units.
Wow.
Where we're kind of always buying and selling some, so the number's always kind of moving. But yeah, we have about, at today's values, with I'd say a conservative estimate, $300 million of mobile home park assets. The values though are tremendously growing. Our values are going like crazy.
And look, we talked about a first deal, a home run deal. Was there ever one of those deals where you're like, just quickly where you're like, whoa, everything that could go wrong did go wrong. I'm lucky to make it out with my shorts, you know?
Yeah. So best deal we sell, I'm in an exchange.
Right.
So you have 45 days to identify, 6 months to close. And so you kind of have this gun to your head time frame wise.
Right.
And a lot of guys shy away from it because it's pretty stressful.
Right.
If you don't do it, you take the money, but you pay a ton of tax.
Right.
And so you're incentivized to do a 1031. We take that money, we buy the one challenge project that was just put us through the ringer. We joke that it killed my dad and it almost killed Ty.
Yikes.
Because my dad was literally on the phone and he dropped dead.
Oh my gosh.
Managing it.
Oh my gosh.
It's not anything to do with it, but we joke about it as like a fun thing in the
this
office.
deal.
Yeah.
Did it.
So we buy 25 acres of a mobile home park in Mesa, East Mesa. So it's a little bit rougher. 50% occupied. The homes are trash.
Right.
You know, like
How
most
many units
of
total?
them, 200, 194.
Got it.
And 37 failing septic systems with literally crap coming out of the tops of them, seeping around in the streets. I mean, we're talking. On one side of the coin, you're like, let's just blade this thing and be done with it. You know, develop something else. You know, and you have all these. You have 100 residents though living in these mobile homes.
Yeah.
That you're like, so you want to bring it back to life, but this was like on the edge of failure. You know, the government is on you, all the agencies for health codes, and you name it.
Yep.
Which we bought this thing, so then we're on the hook, and you're the responsible party.
Right.
So we take this thing with 37 septics that are just garbage. Basically, they haven't been operated correctly for a long time.
That's brutal.
Built in the late 50s into the 60s, like a huge phased construction into the 70s. So you have all these different methods of septic layouts and you name it. Like, so you had to we had to build a chart of what's going on with each septic system. And then we hired for $100,000 a year, we hired a pump truck. Kind of like you'd see.
Putting money on fire. Here you go, $100,000 a year. We're just going to burn it because the systems we have don't work.
They don't work. And then the county,
species, by the way, too,
will not let us replace those leach lines.
Oh, God.
So where the water seeps into the ground, we can't touch it. They're like, nope. We're requiring you
real sewer line.
We're requiring you to connect to sewer.
Yeah.
Well, now where's the sewer? Well, the sewer's through another guy's property, and so we have to meet with him, pay him for an easement, and I mean, you pull the string and you're just like, holy crap! Like this is going to cost way more money than we thought.
How were you able to escape this?
So, luckily, we had a few things. We had been doing well, so we had some cash from the management company side. We had some operating cash. We had a loan that was really cheap, so it was easy to refinance when rates kind of went up. So we had kind of a couple of options, but basically we had to do something. We had to finish. This was a project you get knee deep, and you're not getting out without putting the finishing touch on, at minimum, the sewer system. So anyways, then COVID hits, and everything 2X's.
Right.
Everyone that was maybe busy is now 2X busy.
We'll thank COVID on this one.
And so COVID added probably $500,000 to $1 million in hard costs, you know.
That's crazy.
And so we literally have the tractors digging the streets up, cutting the streets, digging our new main line run. We're trenching through the neighbor's property, and COVID hits. So we are open trenches. We are
saved by COVID.
Underway. Well, no, you can't hardly get anyone to show up. That was the issue. Couldn't get permitting. We couldn't get. Everyone was driven up the wall with fear in the moment. You know, I never really loved COVID from the fear aspect of it, but nonetheless, you had to play ball. So long story short, we went over budget by $1 million. We had to loan the property the money to get through in order for us to refinance. And then we refinanced, finished the homes because we floored 75 brand new manufactured homes.
Wow.
As we pulled the string on several others, we had to rip them out. So
it makes you almost want to hey, I don't want to do that.
It was the ultimate project. So we ended up getting out of it. We ended up making 10%, 9.5% year over year on our money, and we sold it to an institution. So we got it through the finish line.
Looking back to all this, one lasting piece of advice as we wrap here, 30 seconds, Blake, if you had to get in the DeLorean and go back and talk to yourself in that 2008, hey, what's the lasting piece of advice you would give to yourself if starting this journey?
So I've been thinking about this at length. You got to get in, start it, and go.
Yeah.
Like you can't think about what ifs and like all of my fun war stories. We laugh at those now.
Yeah, right,
like
right,
those are like, if you never did anything stupid growing up, you wouldn't have anything to look back and laugh at and learn from. And so, I'm a pilot too, so I still to this day have to get in my plane, start it, and taxi out. And even though like if I haven't flown in a while, I have young kids, I have a lot to live for now, I have to take off. And that's the key. You have to start and you have to go.
Blake, I just absolutely love your energy and the way you do have those war stories in a niche market of real estate investing in mobile home parks, trailer parks. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing. Really appreciate it. For everybody else, thank you so much for tuning in to the CashFlow podcast. We'll see you next time. Thank you.